What is going on, guys? G Harp here. One question I get a ton is why am I not going up in matchmaking? Or why am I not going up that much in matchmaking in Halo Infinite? Well, I want to give you a little bit of an idea of why that may be the case and give you a tool to kind of track how well you're doing and why you may not be going up. Now, if you've been in the Halo community a while, you may be aware of a website that's called Halo Query. If you're not, it is a great website. I'm going to take you there in a second to show you kind of what it looks like, but it's a great resource that you really should be utilizing. There's a lot of data there that isn't necessarily in Waypoint or Halo Tracker that can kind of give you an idea of how well you're doing, how well the game expected you to be doing, and why you may not be ranking up as quickly as you think you should. Now, let's go to Halo Query to show you what that looks like. So on Halo Query, we have a number of different options here. When you first get to the website, the one thing that you'll notice is that it asks you to sign in. This is because of the way that Microsoft kind of secures their API data. So the data that's being fed in here is coming from an API from Microsoft or Halo Studios. So they need a single sign-in. I'm signed in as my account here. Very, very straightforward. Just sign in with your live account or your Xbox account or Outlook or whatever the case may be for the Microsoft account you have. Just sign in, no problem. It's just pulling data there. But I want to kind of point out a couple things on this website that are worthwhile. The first thing to do, if you're interested in the reason why you may not be ranking up, is this FAQ section here. So the FAQ section is a very good kind of primer on how ranking up in Arena and other game types works in Halo Infinite. It's sort of straightforward, but a little bit convoluted unless you know what's actually going on. But this is a great resource to come to. It explains the difference between your CSR, so the rank that you see on your player profile, whether that be Platinum, Diamond, Onyx, whatever, Gold, Silver, Bronze, all of the ranks that are possible there. That's your CSR. And then you have your MMR, which is the hidden kind of value that the game thinks, of how good the game thinks you actually are. These two things can be in conflict, where the game's MMR for you may think you're one level, your CSR reflects another, and this is why you sometimes see the swings of -10, -15, or +15, +12. Basically what that's doing is your MMR underneath everything that you really can't see or you don't have a good visibility of as a player is trying to get close to your CSR. So when it's giving you that +15, it's actually, the game knows that you're actually better than what your CSR is. The underlying MMR level is higher than what your CSR is reflecting. The opposite's true as well. If you go into matchmaking and you're getting -10, -12, -15, your CSR is actually higher, much higher than your MMR is. So the game's trying to equalize those two values. So always think, whenever you are only ranking up a certain amount, maybe only 7 points at a time, the game's saying you're really, really close to your MMR and CSR. They're really close to each other. If you're going down -5, -6 in games, that's basically the game saying your MMR is potentially maybe higher than your CSR, so we don't want to derank you too much in your CSR. It's kind of the way you can think about it. You can read much more about it in here. They also have a cool statistic in this called expected skill rank. Now, they go over a good explanation here, so I won't run through everything here, but suffice to say, the game has an idea of how well they think you're going to do in each match, and it expects you to hit that target, or you're going to get deranked or ranked higher. So just dependent upon how you do. So this is a very, very good thing to take a look at. It's very, very important too when you're looking at the statistics to see how well did you do in comparison to what the game thought you were going to do. Same thing with the PSR here, where it's the performance that you have, how well it is you do given what the game thought you were going to do. What's that average there? What's the performance that you gave? What type of CSR level does that kind of put you at? That's what you can think about it. So it gets more in depth. I don't want to bore you with that. Please come read this if you have any questions about how the MMR CSR differentiator is. It's a great resource here. They even have a question here that everyone asks in matchmaking, or is asked a lot. Why does this not work? Just why, I'm crushing it in KD. Why am I not moving up? This goes over why that is, and it all has to do with MMR CSR. It goes into some some counterfactuals there, but the big thing to say here is the primary factors are always kill to death, and what did the game think you were going to do? It's very, 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 very straightforward. But all that to say is you need to win. You need to get a lot of kills. You need to not die so much. That's how you rank up. Now, let's actually take a look and see what statistics are for an actual game type. What can you expect? So let's go up here. I'm going to go to matches, and these are my matches previously here. You can see, had some good games, had some bad games, but there's a lot of data here that you can take a look at. The first one I want to pull your attention to is the Team MMR player and team MMR here. So what this is giving you a readout of is what MMR level is the average of your group that you went in with. So in this instance, my team, our average MMR was 1495, so basically Onyx. The enemy's team was a little bit lower. So in this matchup, the game basically thought we would win, and we did. So this is kind of where you can see the game trying to match you in such a way that it thinks you're either going to win or lose. The Mint Blitz does a lot of good videos on this where he talks about this. So this just is a kind of a representation of what he was saying, where going into the match, it's almost predetermined who's going to win or lose. Unless you outperform, the game thinks that it knows what's going to happen. So here's another example where our team MMR was actually higher and we lost, which is a bad loss. The next one down, our MMR was a little bit lower and we won. Or we lost as well, I should say. So this one was expected. We were expected to lose this game. And you can just go down the list and see here, the differentiators here. So that's the first thing to always think about. The game has a very good idea whether your team is going to win or lose. It matches you up as such. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind as you're going through this. The other thing, too, that I'll point out is the CSR. So this is what rank you're actually showing on your Spartan in Halo Infinite. So 1484, 1476, all of these are kind of my CSR, so this would be Diamond 6. Down here was an Onyx, so that was 1500 and above. So you can kind of see where the CSR lands in here. And then the delta here, this is what the change was after the game was completed. So for most of these, it's a +8, +7, -9, -8, somewhere in there. So basically what this is saying is my CSR, my MMR and my CSR are relatively similar. Now, this next column is what would be expected. So what the game thought you were going to perform as in the actual game itself. Now, this is kind of an idea of the intersection there of kills to deaths and where they would kind of slot you in at. This is good, and it kind of even gives you an indication here. This is a good explainer for what is the kill to death and what's the expected skill rank for the players in the party here. So it's assuming that I'm at a 1475 here. In this particular game, I actually performed at a 1667 level. You can see as we go down here where your good games are and your bad games are. So, just by looking at this one, I know I did worse. It was only 14 and 15 this game. Not great. It expected me to be here at 1434. I actually performed as a 1403, so I only went up 7. Here, I outperformed, so I went up 8. So you can see where an underperformance is docking you more points. Another example down here. I was expected to be at a 1455, and I actually was only at a 1281. So horrible game. And for that, I got penalized badly. So I got penalized -9. The next game, it was a 1463, and I actually played like a 1676. So I didn't go down as much. So this kind of tells you and gives you an indication of how well are you playing and how much does the game think it needs to take away or give to you. So if you're ever confused why you're not going up much, or you're not going down much, or you're going down too much, come here, take a look at these statistics, and that should tell you why things aren't going the way that you would expect them to go. So all of this is programmatic. This is all the game's skill ranking system at play here. But this gives you a visual representation a little bit more so than just the +8, +10, -10, whatever the case may be. It's kind of giving you that information in a more straightforward way instead of hiding it behind just those simple metrics. Another thing too I'll point out, if you're very interested in how you're playing in certain game types, there's this more details section which kind of gives you a breakdown of what everybody was doing with a lot more detail. So a lot of cool data here where we had one person who just played tons and tons of objective. This was a flag game. 71% of the action on objectives was by our one player, so he crushed it. Same thing on this other side. You can see this other team had more players touching objectives. So you can kind of see this breakdown here in a nice graph format. It's really cool to come in here and see. There's even more data in here. And then you'll even see what the expected kills of everybody that you played with was and what they were expected to do as the game was progressing here. So a lot of cool information here. It's a great resource if you've never used Halo Query. It's really good to come see so you can kind of take a look at what may be going on. And, you know, at the end of the day, this is just one resource to kind of help you. The best thing to do if you're trying to increase your rank, go watch other really good players play. Go watch Lucid. Go watch Bound. Go watch Renegade. Go watch the really good players, see what they do. And also, don't be afraid to go in to theater and look at your games. If you had a bad game, go to theater, take a look, come here, see what you were expected to do, and kind of work back and see what can I improve on. What were the issues? Did I die too much? Did I not have enough assists? Am I not in a good position to put damage down for my teammates? All these things you can kind of think about. This just gives you a little bit more data to go on and will help you understand a little bit why you're not ranking up or why you could be ranking down a lot all at once. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Halo Query is a great resource. If you have any questions or any confusion here, there's a lot of really good information on their FAQ. I definitely would ask you to go take a look at that. But appreciate you guys watching. Like, subscribe, do all that. We'll see you in the next one.